A mid-air drop, a Mars grounding and a failure that exposed a heliospheric blind spot. The sun just forced the biggest safety recall in Airbus history. Take a look at this next report for more details.
On October 30th, a JetBlue Airbus A320 from Cancun to Newark suddenly pitched down over the Gulf of Mexico. The autopilot was still on, the crew had no warning, and more than a dozen passengers were injured before the plane diverted to Tampa. The investigation found something no one expected. The aircraft dropped because of a data corruption event inside its flight control computer, and that corruption was caused not by a pilot, not by a part failure, but by the sun. Airbus has now ordered urgent software updates for over 6,000 A320 family aircraft worldwide, the largest safety action in its 55-year history. The problem lies inside the ELAC-2 computer, the unit that controls the elevators and ailerons. It experienced what engineers call a single event upset, a tiny but critical bit flip caused by high-energy solar particles. One flipped bit was enough to force an uncommanded nosedive, the heliospheric blind spot, and the heliospheric environment, the space weather we fly through, is more hostile than any model anticipated. This was a blind spot in aviation risk modeling, not space weather in space, but space weather at 35,000 feet. At cruising altitude, with thinner atmospheric shielding, these particles can strike semiconductors directly. And that is exactly what happened. This incident has also revealed a much bigger systemic failure. The global aviation industry never fully factored in the reality of solar cycle 25. The current solar cycle, expected to be weak, has turned out to be far more intense. Sunspot counts are running 40 to 50% above forecast. Solar flares are stronger and more frequent. Modern Airbus jets use fly-by-wire, where pilot commands pass through computers before any control surface moves. The ELAC-2 units were not built to handle single-event upsets, tiny, sudden memory errors triggered by solar radiation or cosmic rays. At altitude, with less protection, the risk of these bit flips rises sharply, especially during strong solar activity. And if that corrupted data hits a flight control loop, the aircraft can move without any pilot input. The emergency directive from the European Aviation Safety Agency has now grounded all affected A318, A319, A320, and A321 models until they are updated. Most fixes take 2 to 4 hours, but about 1,000 older aircraft will need weeks, disrupting millions of passengers during the busiest travel season. The impact is global, across 6 continents and 375 operators. In the United States, American, Delta, United, and JetBlue have all been hit. Other airlines like EasyJet, Wizz, Air France, and British Airways are facing cancellations and rotation changes. And India, one of the most A320-dependent markets in the world, is among the worst affected. India's DGCA has issued a mandatory safety order covering Indigo, the world's largest A320 operator, Air India, including legacy CEO models and NEOs, as well as Vistara, Go First, and Akasa Air. Some wet-leased A320s impacted Indian carriers may see dozens of aircraft grounded at any point until the rollout is complete, a major strain on a market that runs near full capacity daily. Airbus has apologized for the global disruption, saying the patches are essential to ensure safe fly-by-wire operations. Setback arrives just weeks after the A320 surpassed the 737 as the most delivered aircraft model in history, an achievement marred by safety concerns and operational chaos. But the real story is the underlying vulnerability this incident has exposed.